It's time for our last triangle blocks of our January through June book. Are you ready? Hey everyone, Cristin here, and it is time for the triangle blocks. So we did our center blocks and our inner borders, and so now it's time for those triangle blocks. The triangle blocks are always the biggest part of our Cuties project. This one actually I think is going to be the easiest out of all of the triangle blocks. There's just 2 applique pieces, little bit of embroidery, very little. I think we're going to fly through these. They will take at least 4 hoopings depending on your hoop size because they are big. The triangle blocks are big. So pull out your packet. And the triangle blocks are on page 38, and you can see there's not a whole lot to them. So I think we'll just jam right through them. So let's go over what we need for today. So page 38 of our booklet, and we are going to start with our main fabric. So the main fabric is the big piece, 2 pieces of big fabric. I'm going to iron mine. I've got a crease down the center of it, but we want this to be 2 pieces of 13 by 13. It is the white with white dots and 2 pieces. Make sure to stabilize these. These are big and they're white, so you want these stabilized. So 13 by 13 stabilized, and we will subcut these into triangles, and I'll show you. I'll take a picture of that when I get there, but basically from the corner to the corner diagonal cut to get 4 triangle pieces. All right, so our main fabric 13 by 13 to start with. And then we just have the 2 applique pieces. So very simple. We have the pink embroidery leather. Isn't that beautiful? I love this. Oh boy, I love this so much. It's so pretty. Don't back embroidery leather. It's got a soft backing on it. Just leave it like that. Don't stabilize it. So we're going to start with this at 4 by 4. 4 pieces. There's 1 for each of our triangle blocks. We're going to do 4 triangle blocks. So 4 pieces that are 4 by 4. For your embroidery leather, the pink embroidery leather for that ice cream. All right, and then we have the gingerbread felt, and 4 pieces, and we're going to start with these at 2.5 by 3.5, 2.5 by 3.5, 4 pieces. This is going to be the cone on our ice cream cone. 4 pieces of gingerbread embroidery felt, 2.5 by 3.5. All right, and then we have our batting. So I try to mention this in every video because we always seem to get questions. Notice our batting is a big rectangle. All right, big rectangle. It is not a triangle. We will cut it after we do the tack down of our batting. It will be a triangle, and then we will trim it, and then it will be a triangle, but it starts as a rectangle. I've had questions of how do I cut it into a triangle? We'll do it after we do the tack down stitch. Don't worry. All right, so 4 pieces of batting, and we want this to be at least, it doesn't have to be exact, but at least 7.25 by 13.5. All right, anything larger than that is totally fine because we're going to cut it down anyway, but you just want it big enough that it's going to cover that entire placement stitch. 7.25 by 13.5 for our batting, 4 pieces, 1 for each of our triangle blocks. And we are going to quilt this with triangle cherry. All right, and there, like I've shown in all of the videos, you can do an 8 by 12, you can do a 9 by 14, or you can do a few hoopings of the 5 by 7. I'm going to use the 9 by 14, and even the 9 by 14, the ends don't come all the way anyway. So either way, it's going to work out just fine. And I will show you, you need to make sure to cut all the way to that point. Keep going. All right, don't stop. So if you'll see on the stitching, it stops. There's like this stitching where it just can't quite reach all the way. Don't stop cutting at that point. You want to keep cutting until the fabrics meet. And I'll show you when we get to that point. So one other thing is that we need to bring in the embroidery design. We're going to start with our quilting as we usually do, not always, but usually. We start with our quilting, and then we're going to bring in that ice cream cone design. That's our embroidery design, and that will be on top, and we need to move it so that it will be centered exactly right. And I'm going to bring you over to the computer to show you how To move it, you can absolutely move this on your embroidery machine. It's very easy to do, but to give you a visual, I'm going to bring you over to the computer just to show you what it will look like. And I'm going to save it that way because to me, it's the easiest to just make those changes, save it, and then send it to my machine. But like I said, you can do this on your embroidery machine if you choose. All right, so let's go ahead and bring you over to the computer and show you what it will look like to move that ice cream cone and get it centered just right. One other quick note is there are a few placement guides on this that we will bypass since we're doing the quilting. We don't need to worry about that. There's also instructions on page 38 of how to do the crosshairs and centering it and all that. We don't need any of that because we're quilting in the hoop. So we will bypass that, and I'll show you that in photos. There are also special cut instructions, and I've shown that every month, and that was what I was referring to, that you want to keep going past the stitching all the way, and I will show you more of that when we get there. Hey everyone, so I'm at my computer and I'm just going to quickly show you what it looks like to move that ice cream machine or ice cream scoop. And like I said, you can absolutely do this on your embroidery machine pretty easily, but this will just give you a visual of how to do it. All right, so I'm going to open up Embellishment Essentials, and I am going to save mine in Embellishments just because it's easiest. So I'm already on my 9x14 hoop. You can see it down here. If you're not on the hoop you want, go up here to Preferences, click on the hoop you want, say OK, and then click on this compass button and click on the H for hoop to have it zoom into that hoop. All right, so we're going to start by bringing in the quilting design. So I'm going to merge stitch file up here, and our quilting design is Triangle Cherry. So table topper, cutie bundle right there. And embroidery files, Pez is what I use for my machine. And then, like I said, so it's Centers and Triangles June right there, Centers and Triangles June. So that will populate. And then here's the 5x7. Let's see, it looks like there's 3 parts for the 5x7. And I'm going to go larger. Here's an 8x12. You can see that cutoff that I was telling you right there. And then here's the 9x14. And there is still a cutoff. It doesn't go all the way to the triangle point, but it gives you a little bit bigger. So I'm going to go ahead and double click on that. It goes to the center, which is perfect. That's where we want this. And then we want to bring in that ice cream cone. So I'm going to go to Merge Stitch File. And I'm not going to change, since I'm not doing multiples in one hoop, I'm not changing any color sorting, doing anything like that. All right, so then close out the quilting bundle and Cuties bundle, quilting, Cuties bundle, embroidery files right there, and Pez, and there is our ice cream cone right there. So you can see it's upright, so we'll have to turn it, and rotate it, and then move it. So if I double click on it, it goes to the center. And like I said, we obviously need to rotate this. Now notice if I click somewhere on the stitching, you don't know if you're going to get all of the this is the part we want, the ice cream cone, but if you just click haphazardly, you might get the quilting bundle or the quilting design there. So the other way, you can click right on the satin stitching, it's larger, or you can close up these folders and just click on 2 that way. Whatever's going to work, few ways of clicking on it. All right, so we want to start by rotating it. So I'm going to click this rotate 90 degrees left button right here. And then I want to move it. So see, you can see if I zoom in, I just used my mouse button on my, the scroll on my mouse to be able to zoom in. And you can see that we're pretty far off, right? And we want it to go to this outer line. The farthest line here is the placement and tack down of our main fabric. And that's the line that we want this on. And we want to keep this. So see this little center mark here? We want to keep that in the center. So the easiest way is if I hit my left, because we rotated, I forgot. Whenever you rotate, you have to click outside of the design and then click back on the design, the part that you want to move. And then I'm just hitting my left arrow key because we rotated it, so we're moving it to the left now. All right, and look at how easy that was. That was super easy. So on embroidery software, I'm able to zoom in. You can zoom in on some embroidery machines as well. So you can absolutely do this. The biggest thing is keeping this in that center mark. That makes it the easiest to move. So you saw all I did was a few clicks on the left arrow key. Some other ways of doing it, you can move this crosshair and bring it to that point and then zoom in. And look at that's just great. All right, and then you can bring it back to another point that you want to zoom in on. And it's great. It's right on that line. It's perfect. So I'm going to click back on that H. And like I said, I don't need to do a color sort or anything. It is centered. We've got our quilting design first. Right there, number 1 design, and number 2 is the ice cream cone, and it's rotated and centered, and it's perfect. So I'm going to go ahead and do a file, save stitch file as, and what are we in? Yep, embroidery files, perfect. All right, so I'm going to name it ice cream rotated. Whatever you want to name it. You could say 9x14 ice cream moved, whatever you want to do. I think I will add the 9x14. I'm just going to click in front of those words, click 9x14 ice cream moved, rotated, whatever's going to help you to find it is the thing. And I have my machine on, so I'm going to say utility send to Solaris and say okay. And file sent to machine. If you don't have a machine that has that option, you would just transfer it to a USB stick and bring the USB stick to your machine. So I just wanted to give you a visual of how to move that ice cream cone to make sure that it is centered in the right place. Perfect, done. All right, let's get stitching. And how are you doing with your goal? I really want to hear about it. Are you making sure to eat ice cream? I forgot. I totally forgot ice cream, and I have some upstairs. Darn. I'll make sure to have some ice cream today. I promise. I made some popsicles out of cherry juice, and they're really yummy and healthy and not bad. There's no added sugar or anything, so that's a really easy way to get some ice cream for this challenge if you're joining me on ice cream. And if you are, I want to see a photo. I want to see a photo of you eating ice cream. That always just makes me smile. So my goal, I'm working on strength. So last night I did a 2.5 mile run with Tommy Rivers. Tommy Rivers is one of the main trainers in iFit. He's just so inspirational, and he actually had cancer last year, I think it was, and it took everything out of him, and he had to rebuild strength completely from start. And he had like these recovery walks that were just, it was just so inspiring, so absolutely inspiring. So I did this run with him last night. Oh my goodness, this man is so strong. There were parts of the run that we were at a 15% incline. I can't run at a 15% incline. I mean, I'm dying on no incline. Up 15%, there's no way. So I hiked that part and ran the other parts, but he talked the whole way, and it was a really, really informative one about what it does to your body and your joints and all of the different aspects of running and staying strong. So it was a really good workout. I will add photos to share. I want to hear how you're doing with your goal. And my shirt today is another ice cream shirt. I'm too sweet. So someone in our group, I think it might have been Shannon, I don't recall exactly. This was at least a year ago when we were working on the 2 scoops bench pillow. She shared a link to this design, and it was actually, it said 2, like it's TWO, and so we got to use our Embrilliance skills and change the font to have it say TOO instead of TWO. And so I showed, I think in one of the videos, I showed how to do the changes on Embrilliance and different fonts and how that will look and how to make it fit and stuff. And so it's a fun design. And plus, I forgot to mention, it is one of those sketch designs. So I put Mylar underneath it. So underneath the ice cream cone, there's Mylar. So in person, I'm sure you can't see it on the video, but in person, it's like super sparkly and fun. So it's a really fun shirt. I put it on a tank top because it's so hot here. It's really nice. I'm so thankful after that long, long winter. I'm so thankful. Every day when the sun starts shining, I'm like, oh, I got to get outside. I can't control myself. I want to get out in the sun after such a long winter. So really cute design. I will add underneath the video, I think it was So Sweetly is where we got the design. I don't recall off the top of my head, but I will add a link underneath this video on where we got the design, and I probably have a video on how we made the changes, and if so, I'll find that too.